For all film-related interviews, reviews, and content, please like and subscribe to Puja Talwar. You can also follow me on Twitter and on Instagram.
It's such an honor and absolute privilege to be surrounded by this talented bunch of people who have given us some amazing stories. So I want to ask you all, the love that's poured in for Modern Love, how does that feel? Are you now enveloped with that love?
Yeah, it's wonderful. It's really, the response has been so amazing, really.
So I want to know, what was it like when such talented people come together? What is the writer's room or the room where you all sit together? What is it like? I'm sure there's a lot of energy and a lot of creative talk, and there is just...
We'll break your heart. We'll break your heart. We never met in a room. Actually, only time we were in. Yeah.
First room.
We met at the screening.
No, we met at the announcement also.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah.
So we worked in separately in isolation.
We didn't know what each other.
But we were connected with each other.
Yeah.
Even the scripts weren't shared by the producers with us, so we were completely in the dark on each other's thing.
Yeah, but I wish they had. They should have. Actually, we should have had each other's script. We should have read each other's script at least. But
true that would have been interesting. But have you all managed to see each other's work?
Of course, we were all together most of us at the premiere. That was very nice to be at the premiere. It was so wonderful that all of us were there with our teams watching it together on the big screen in a PVR.
Hansel was getting married in the US, but the rest of us were there. But I think the marriage took precedence.
Yeah, his love story was unfolding there, as you all brought other people's love stories to screen. So when directors see each other's work, how do they give feedback to the other? Now that's what I want to know. What is it like? What is the chatter like post-film?
I mean, for me, I think I just kind of loved watching everybody's films and, seeing a part of them, I mean, I except for Dhruv, I mean, I know, and Shonali, I'm familiar with, of course, actually Vishal sir I hadn't met, but, you feel like you know him because, you've seen all his, I've seen all his films. But for me to at that screening, it was just so beautiful to see, it's the same theme, it's love, but how everybody approaches it so beautifully, so differently, tackles a different facet of it in their own way. And I just, I don't know, I just loved it. I felt it was like a wonderful sort of coming together. I don't know about how,
Let's ask the others, what is it like how do they share feedback with each other?
I mean, I think I watched it like an audience would watch, but when I speak, it is with craft. I remember calling Vishal the next day, and you tend to speak about craft because you really respect and admire the craft that has gone in, because it's all craft really. Like, it's so difficult, and we all had only 6 to 8 days to shoot these things. Really challenging situations, and second wave and so many things, and really feel high respect for everybody else's craft, and that's what I speak about for me.
Dhruv and Vishal sir are very quiet. I'm very curious to know what do they have to say.
no, I mean it's please go ahead, please.
So sorry. No, I was saying that it's very strange for me to even think about the word feedback. With when there's such directors in front of me. But for me, it's always exciting. Like Nopur ma'am said, that that how everyone gave their own personality to the films, and how every film sort of stood out. It was different from each other, and I mean, you're talking about something as universal as love. So yeah, it was just fascinating, like the world that Vishal sir creates, and the emotions that everyone else was creating, and the world building, and just the style. Yeah, it was just I thoroughly enjoyed the show as such.
You, Vishal sir.
Yeah, I think it was very beautiful experience for me, because this was my first ever thing for any OTT platform. One is that, and second, the part of anthology, first time I was doing it. So when I watched all the film, the synergy was so beautiful. There were so many beautiful things about each one's film, And yeah, so I just love that experience. It's like, when uh, I used to play cricket professionally. So when we used to play as a team and when we win a match, so and everybody had their own style of playing. There's sometimes differences also, but when we win a match, it's like that kind of feeling I got again over here.
And I want to ask you all, since you spoke about anthology, we're seeing a lot of anthologies. Now there'll be Modern Love Hyderabad, there's Modern Love, Chennai. And anthologies have been coming up, and Nupur has also worked in one. And what is it like? Do you think they're here to stay? And is it exciting for filmmakers? Because all of you are also used to feature films, which are like 2 hours long. And suddenly everything is in 40 minutes. You tell everything in those 40 minutes. So what's that like? What's the challenges or what's the beauty of it?
I mean, for me, I think it was very, very refreshing to do something which was like a short piece, because I've been working on features and also like shows which are so long format. It's like 6, 7, 8 hours of material. So I think it was really nice for me to actually tell a story about one protagonist over just like a very short span of time. And I think my film was the shortest as well, because I think I was really going for that, just like capturing that one moment in a person's life. And so I think for me, it was very, very refreshing. And I think it's a very, it's the same as making a feature in many ways, and yet it's very different. So it was
No, it was the first time for me also doing an anthology as well as being on OTT, like Vishal.
True.
Experience.
Both of you are the debutantes here.
Yeah, real debutante there. And it's challenging and exciting and refreshing, as Alankrita said, for sure, because it is a different format completely from doing a feature. But yet I brought everything I would to a feature too, the same dedication and passion and commitment to it, but in a much shorter amount of time and shorter days of shoot. Everything much less and more difficult, I feel. But you have to bring your best game to that format too. So I think I last did a short film when I was just in film school, and then I've never done a short film like this professionally. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely want to do another anthology. And also I loved this sister brotherhood, like this thing. And I just wish, yes, that they had let us mingle more and learn and grow from each other, because that's why you feel happy to be in a wonderful group of directors such as this. This is such a great group of directors, but we were denied that. And I feel I would look forward to another anthology where I would push for that. And it was tough time and COVID, etc. Maybe those were the factors, I don't know. But I think that's also exciting, because you are your own piece, but then they all are collectively something. Like we are all feeling the love of it would not matter if your own show was good if the collective love wasn't there for the entire Modern Love. That's what we're all feeling a high on, that the whole show has been so loved, right? So that's about collective. And I like being part of a collective. I really liked that.
Vishal sir, what was it like for you? Aapke liye kaisa tha? Because you've done such expansive features, you've written for stories, but here, as they all spoke, an anthology, which is like 42 minutes. You're telling everything that you would have actually had so much of time and space to tell in.
Yeah, because I love the format of short stories, and I love short stories, and especially the twist in the tail of a short story, that format. I love that, and I have done a short film before. It was for Bill Gates Foundation, that story based on AIDS, where Meera, myself, and Santosh and Farhan, we did 4 films together, long time back. So short stories are actually my first love. I prefer them to the long stories. So I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I knew that I'm going to enjoy it more than the film, because that, as Shonali said, the commitment is shorter, but the satisfaction is the same, if not more.
True. Yeah. True. And asking all of you now, it's basically an inspiration from Modern Love, basically a collection of essays for the New York Times, but adapting it to your city, the format, the situation, characters are very different. So I'll start with the ladies first, left, right, anyone who wants to start with. How did your idea for your story come about and adapting it into the Indian context? So Dhruv, I'll start with you, where it spoke about dating apps, two people who meet in Thane. So where did that inspiration come from? Because you are basically bringing New York to say Thane.
Yeah. So I mean, in the piece itself, there were no mention of areas as such. It was just a bunch of people on a dating app, and she meets a guy who's not on an app, who's not on a dating app. So I was just thinking, yeah, what is the Bombay that I know, and I've been in Bombay for 13, 14 years, and and I won't say that I'm an expert, but I kind of know the suburban Bombay more than I know, say, the Bombay of town and even the Bombay of Bandra. I mean, I have lots of friends there, but because I've lived only in Andheri, and a lot of my local friends live in Dahisar, Borivali. So I was just curious about what is that everydayness of Bombay, where does that reside? And we came across, rather I came across Thane in that sense, because also it's about a pursuit of love, and I didn't want it to be easy. So otherwise she would have come from Bombay, Bandra to, I don't know, Andheri, but wo jaldi ho jata khatam. So, we were just like, okay, let's raise the stakes at least through distance a little bit. So hence Thane came, and then the whole idea of landscaping, because Bombay is a city which keeps changing. So the trends keep coming and going. So yeah, I mean, it was just a bit of personal awareness in some way, and curiosity.
And any bit thing about you, because your leading lady actually told me that Ritvik and Dhruv had more of a bromance going than Ritvik and her romance on screen.
No, nothing like that. I had more of a bromance with my first lady who would tell me that time come ho raha hai. Chalo jaldi karo.
Vishal sir, Mumbai Dragon, very interesting. It says a whole lot of things actually, about being outsiders and also modernity versus traditionalism. Saas, Bahuwala, sab kuch. And how did Mumbai Dragon, basically you've recreated a chota sa Chinatown in that one little home.
Yeah, actually, the human emotions are the same, to answer your question, whether it's in New York or California or Timbuktu, the people are the same. We all are the same. So we have to find our own setting. And very interestingly, Shonali and I, we both want to do the same story. So the thing was, they sent, very interestingly, they made it like that they sent us the stories, and first come first serve, who comes,
I called it fastest finger first.
yeah, musical chairs. Like, yeah. So Shonali and I, we had a 1 minute difference. Yeah, I was faster, 1 minute faster. So that's how I got that story.
Why did you choose Mumbai Dragon actually?
Yeah, because there was something so beautiful about it, that mother's character. In fact, there was a lot of discussion with the producers about it, that they wanted it to be, not they wanted to be, they suggested that it should be like the son's point of view. And for me, that mother's point of view was more interesting. I wanted to explore more it from mother's point of view. So that was, and I think it was a beautiful story. You show your love through food, and it becomes an obsession. So I found it very, very unusual for me to pick up that story.
Absolutely. Alankrita, my beautiful wrinkles, really very sweet, because, and I'm glad a story like this was told. Tell me about it, like when you read the story that was given to you and also adapting it into an Indian context, because यहाँ पर इतना देखने को नहीं मिलेगा ऐसे. Suddenly a grandmom says like, hello, second leads at life and love and everything. तो सब छोड़ करके जा रही.
Yeah, I think I tried to stay as true to the character, because actually the story that I got was an essay, and honestly nothing was like, it was literally just like a stream of consciousness kind of thoughts. That sort of an essay, how she just this woman is walking down the street in New York and what is going on in her head. So there was no plot or anything, but I really took, I think for the adaptation, I took all my cues from the essay itself, and I felt like I wanted to adapt it as closely as possible, which is why the character I chose was, like upper middle class, educated, and the kind of life, because life she's led, because I felt it was truest to what the essay was, and I felt like it is possible for somebody like this to exist, in Bombay, but she may not be a very like somebody who we may encounter that often. So I built the character and her world, keeping the essay in mind largely. I think even taking cues of like the socio-economic, educational background, because I felt like for me the story was made sense keeping all of like those factors in mind. And yeah, I thought it was a very, very beautiful essay. And I also had some very, because it was fastest fingers first and I was having some tech issues, so I actually didn't get to read any of the articles, and this was the last one left. And then Rongita and Ishta were like, now this is the one left and this is what you have to do. And it was so strange when I read all of them, I realized that this is the one I would have chosen first anyway. So it was yeah, it was like that. And I'm really glad I chose this story and I adapted it. Yeah.
That's what they say, films, characters, movies, everything comes with a destiny. Maybe you were all destined to do those stories. So Shonali, your story, like we spoke about it last, Raat Rani highlights a whole lot of things in those 45 minutes. Socio, political, economic issues all come together. It's liberation, it's empowerment. So what was the essay that you had got, and you brought it into context with having a Kashmiri Muslim girl in Mumbai, just kind of, it's just very different.
So even I was having tech issues, but luckily Nilesh, who I knew was going to be my writer, was on this call, and he was in Pune, I was in Bombay, and he chose this for me. And just like Alankrita said, when I reread all of them calmly, first I called Rongita Ishita, I said, I bet you I pressed the finger at the same time as Vishal, just because Vishal is Vishal, you're giving it to Vishal, and I cried. Then
No, not true, Shonali.
I said, oh my God, this is the perfect story for me that Nilesh chose, because it was very stressful, this whole experience. And, I felt we should have been like given time and given many stories. Like, I feel like the pressure was intense anyway, but luckily, like Alankrita, I lucked out that this was, like you're saying, destined. It's me. Self-love is what I believe in. And I actually, after Ishan's death in Santa Monica, used to ride my cycle and really found myself, So I'm so grateful that Nilesh chose that for me. I love that. Everything else is thanks to him, kudos to him, to what he did. The blog that we were given was a middle-class woman in Brooklyn. She has to climb over the Manhattan Bridge and the Brooklyn Bridge after her husband leaves her on her cycle to get to work, because she didn't have money to take the subway. And she could not climb over the bridge, and at one point wants to commit suicide. So, and then, months pass, and then she's able to do it. So I love how he took, say, the Manhattan or Brooklyn Bridge and took a flyover in Bombay, but then took another step extra by taking the most iconic bridge of Bombay, which is not allowed. So I really like this whole thing then, the play with what's allowed, what's not allowed. Yeah, grateful to what the writing was. I had absolutely nothing to do with it. I was given this golden script by Nilesh.
Coming to Nupur, and let me just read out a comment that's come for all of you, that none of the filmmakers highlight the issues with a bleeding pen, but instead creatively and very subtly get the issues to the fore. So, I mean, at this was just a review I was reading amongst the lovely reviews that have come for all that you've created, and I thought this was just perfect. So, look, was cutting chai, did you bring a little bit of yourself? Because, I saw the story, I was like, I have spoken to you in the past, and there's a bit of Nupur also here.
Well, like I said, we all as filmmakers bring our point of view, bring our politics, bring the way we look at just humanity in everything that we make in our unique ways. Unlike the others, I came onto the project much, much later. I think Shonali and Alankrita had already finished making their films when I came onto it. So I was not part of the fastest finger first kind of scenario. And I was like, I had my own thing with Rongita. I'm like, Rongita, why must you ask me to do this story? And she said, babe, just take a look at it, read the article first. So, I read the article, and, I'm single, and it just so happened that I've made back-to-back films about couples, but what Latika goes through and what Latika goes through in the film is really what I've seen all around me with my friends and, family, where women kind of give up their dreams and sort of, they just kind of piss jate ho na, ek zindagi mein piste rehte ho. And it's something that kind of bothered me a lot throughout, I mean, and I felt that this was something that that spoke to me. And so much of the film is in her head. You know, it's like she's thinking. She's constantly thinking, she's evolving, she's reevaluating, then she goes into her fantasies, she fantasizes what life could have been. But even in her fantasy, the fantasy husband says something like, if you really wanted to write, you would have, babe, why blame me? And that's the key, you know, that she has been unable to commit to her dream for whatever reason. And so at the end of the day, what I wanted to say was that you are always responsible for, in some way, you know, for what you want to do. And if you reclaim that, you know, once in the last scene, when she claims her space, the husband steps up. Now that's idealistic, I know that, but I made it look attractive. And also, you know, I have a beautiful man like Arshad Warsi saying that I will do this, I will step up. And for me, you know, I hope that, you know, I've got a lot of messages and feedback saying that, yeah, you know, this is my story. And so for me, that was quite wonderful to sort of find the truth and say it, you know, as honestly as I could, you know.
You know, you have someone here who makes some of his male characters the best, and that's Dhruv Sehgal. उनकी कहानियों में जो मेल कैरेक्टर्स होते हैं ना, वो सब विमेन के विश लिस्ट पे है. And you know, that's also happened with I Love Khane के बाद. Everyone wants Ritwik's character in life, but Jate, I just want to ask all of you, it's also Mumbai. Mumbai is a character, very important character. Which for you, how would you define Mumbai? What is Mumbai for you? And your favorite love story in Mumbai? Because we have, over the years, romanticized Mumbai in so many ways in our cinema, as well as in yours. So that's my last question to all of you.
Yeah, maybe because I'm in Delhi right now, so this answer will make more sense. But you know, I mean, I'm fairly well traveled because of my parents and privilege. But I just find Bombay to be extremely cosmopolitan. You know, I find it to be in fact, I'll tell you what. You know, during the day of the screening, because the lot of people who worked on my film were friends of mine. You know, from college days. And you know, I was just looking at everyone around at the screening during the interval, and there was someone like, you know, Vishal sir. There was all the other directors were there, the Shonali ma'am. And there was this my editor, you know, Maulik, who I knew from Gwalior. And I was like, you know, this is such a great city, man. You know, like everyone can just be. And, you know, individuality is sort of given points. So for me, just to kind of have that faith, you know, you can truly try and be yourself, and you will be sort of not rewarded, but you will feel good about it. So I just find it to be a city where it just lets you be.
That's most important. Vishal sir, आप बताओ, आपके लिए मुंबई क्या है? क्या मायने रखता है? कोई ऐसी लव स्टोरी जो आपको खास लगती है?
लव स्टोरी तो पता नहीं वो जो कहाँ तो सोचनी पड़ेगी कोई क्या देखा था, पर हाँ मुंबई अब घर है. यू नो, मैं भी क्योंकि दिल्ली से हूँ और मेरठ से हूँ एक्चुअली. मेरठ से फिर दिल्ली में रहा, फिर अब मैं यहाँ आ गया. पर अब मुझे लगता है कि मे बी यू नो आई बिलोंग टू दिस प्लेस. दिस इज सच ए ब्यूटीफुल सिटी. इतना खूबसूरत शहर है, और जितनी आपको ये आपसे मेहनत कराता है या जितना आपको स्ट्रगल कराता है, उससे ज़्यादा ही आपको देता है. और यू फील सो ब्यूटीफुल अबाउट द पीपल ओवर हियर. बहुत ज़्यादा खूबसूरत लोग हैं. एंड इवन महाराष्ट्रियन कल्चर, आई थिंक मराठी लोग इतने खूबसूरत लोग हैं यहाँ पे. और क्या मुंबई के बारे में जितना बोला जाएगा, मैं जितना सेफ आप, स्पेशली अब तो दूसरी वजह से भी आप सेफ फील करते हो यहाँ पे. बट आप आई मीन यहाँ की पुलिस, यहाँ आप दिल्ली में मैं कभी हिम्मत नहीं होती थी कि पुलिस स्टेशन में मेरी जाने की हिम्मत होगा मेरे साथ कुछ गलत हो जाए तो. Here, you know, it's like the cops are so friendly. Everyone is so beautiful. Everything is beautiful about it, this city.
And now the ladies, I as a woman feel very safe in Mumbai. But for you, what is Mumbai? Like Shonali is like between continents, as I would say. Alankrita, you don't belong to the city. So I want to ask you, what is Mumbai to you?
I'm not. Now Bombay's become home. After living 30 years in the US, I came back to Bombay because I just love Bombay so much. And now that my kids are grown up and I don't need to be, I just love it. I was here as a kid also growing up, and then coming back as an adult, as a filmmaker. It is home. And just like New York City is, like you feel free and independent as a woman. Like you can just feel absolutely safe, free, all hours of like Ratrani, she's working all night. Same like that. You just feel as a woman, you can be out whatever hour of the night and you're fine. And I love that you walk on bandstand and it's every cross section of society. It's not elite. It's every person from every class of society and religion, and everybody are walking in bandstand because I live in Bandra. I love that kind of thing. Like, and it's a vibrant city. It's an energetic city. And as I said, I left LA to come and live here. I love it.
Awesome. Last parting words, Alankrita and Nupur. What is Mumbai for you?
I mean, I think I call it home now, though I'm not from here, and but it's been so many years that I've lived here, and I think that I agree with what everyone says. I think cosmopolitan, I feel a sense of belonging, and really this is home. And I definitely think as a woman, there is no better place to live than here. As a I think like even if I were not a filmmaker, I would still say Bombay is like the best place to sort of to live and do your thing. So yeah, I love the city.
Awesome. Nupur, jate before they tell me that.
Yeah. I mean, I consider myself a Mumbaikar now. Yeah, it's been 2 decades, and एक Bombay है, एक Mumbai है, और एक पूरा and then there is India. I mean, I don't think any woman can feel as safe as she does in Bombay. रात को 2 बजे, 6 बजे, and to be yourself. Nobody cares where you live, what you drive, who your baap is. It's just you. It's you, your work.
That's all for Delhi.
Yeah.
पता नहीं मेरा बाप कौन है.
Yeah. So it's really freedom. That's what it signifies.
Thank you so much, all of you. Looking forward to a Modern Love season 2 from all of you. It's just brilliant, and I hope they put you all together in a room and we can actually see the energy. And maybe I'll get my camera there. But thank you so much for giving us such beautiful stories. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Puja.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
If you've liked this interview, please like, share, and subscribe. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram.